Good morning, guys. This is your tutorial for your third packet geometry project. So this project is more of an artistic project. You are going to basically design your own picture, and it says here that to make it abstract, but abstract simply means it's unique. Doesn't necessarily look like something realistic in real life. If you would prefer to make your design something realistic, like you want to make it look like a house, or you want to, I don't know, make a flower or something, that's fine too. But abstract just simply means it doesn't have to look like anything realistic. Okay, so you're going to use dot paper provided and calculate the area of your design. So here's the rules for your design. I kind of highlighted the important facts. So your shape, you have to have these 5 shapes. You have to have rectangles, squares, triangles, trapezoids, and parallelograms. Now, when you're drawing your shapes, it says make sure that each line of your shape goes from corner to corner. So in other words, we don't want any halfway or any decimals. We don't want to have like 1.5 for a length. We want to go all the way from corner to corner so everything's solid. Okay, you must include a minimum of 2 of each of these shapes. So that makes 2 rectangles, 2 squares, 2 triangles, etc. Now, obviously you can use more than 2 of everything, but you have to have at least 2. Okay, your design should fill the entire paper. It's got to be colored. And each shape needs to be numbered whenever you're drawing them. Okay. And then on the back side is where you'll do all your math. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you an example. Now, my example is not completely finished. It's just to get you an idea of how to get started. Okay, so this is an abstract design, meaning it doesn't look like anything, although it kind of looks like maybe a transformer face. So I've drawn my shapes, and within each shape, I've numbered each shape. And notice every shape, it goes from corner to corner. I didn't stop halfway between 2 dots. I made sure it went all the way across, okay? So on here, I have just a few. So what you want to do now, once you've drawn it, then you would go to your calculation page, and you would use the numbers to correspond to your pictures. Okay, so I'm going to get you started on a couple. Now, obviously, I don't want you copying my example because that's my art, not yours. Okay, so for mine, shape number 1, it's a parallelogram, because remember, parallelograms, the top and bottom are parallel, the left and right are parallel. And remember also with parallelograms, the opposite sides are congruent, okay? So if you look at your formula chart, so I'm going to go ahead and say number 1 is a parallelogram. Okay, now I have given you all of your formulas that you're going to need today. So parallelogram, remember, and rectangles and squares, is area equals base times height. So when I look at my parallelogram, remember base and height always have to form a right angle. So when I look at my base, I'm going to count straight across from edge to edge. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units wide. So I'm going to say A equals 6 times. Now my height, remember, I don't want to count diagonally, I want to count straight up, okay? So it's 1, 2, 3 units tall. Now, if I wanted to count from anywhere on there, I can count here, 1, 2, 3. You'll notice it's 1, 2, 3 at all points that hit that top line as well. So my height is 3. Now, that's all I need to see for your work, okay? So don't worry about actually going off to the side and saying, well, 6 times 3 and show the scratch work. This is the work I need to see, okay? And so 6 times 3 is 18. So my answer is going to be 18 units squared. Okay. Now when I look at my second shape's not a parallelogram. It's a trapezoid because the top and bottom are parallel, but the left and right are not. So remember, trapezoids have one set of parallel sides and one set that are not. Okay, so I'm going to write number 2 as a trapezoid. Now my formula for trapezoid is really base 1 plus base 2 times the height divided by 2. So remember, the bases are your parallel lines, okay? So my top line here, that's base 1 and base 2. So base 1 is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units. So I'm going to say parentheses, 7 plus my bottom base is 1, 2, 3 units. And I'm going to say times my height. Remember, height has to go straight up and down, forming a right angle with the bases. So I'll just count straight right here. It's 1, 2, 3. And then I would divide by 2. Okay, so remember, always add the bases first before you multiply and divide. So 7 plus 3, that's a total of 10. 10 times 3 is 30. And 30 divided by 2 is 15 units squared. Okay, now I'm going to skip on to another shape because number 3 is very similar to number 1. We need to save your time. So let's look now at shape number 5. Okay, number 5 is a triangle. It's 3-sided, so I'm going to say shape number 5 is a triangle. Okay, and remember, formula for a triangle is base times height divided by 2. Remember, base and height always have to form that right angle. So in this case, on this triangle, the base isn't necessarily always the bottom line. My base can be right here and my height right here because that's where my right angle is forming, okay? So when I count out the base, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units wide. And then the height is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I say, oops, down here. Area equals 6 times 5 divided by 2. And 6 times 5 is 30 again. 30 divided by 2 again is 15 units squared. Okay, so now let's look at shape number 8. 8's a triangle also, but since it's not a right triangle, some kids have trouble seeing where the base and height is. So you want to find where you can take one line and form a right angle that goes to a vertex. So in this case, my base is this top line here, and then the height would go straight through the middle, making a right angle right here. Okay, so then my base, I'm going to count it out, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units, and my height is 1, 2, 3 units. Okay, so this was shape number 8, so I'm going to say that was a triangle, and it was area equals 6 for the base times 3 for the height. Is that right? Did I say that right? Yeah. Okay. Divide by 2. Okay, 6 times 3 is 18. Half of 18 is 9 units squared. Okay, and one more shape I want to look at with you is shape 9 and 10. 9 and 10 are very symmetrical. If you notice, I made my design very symmetrical. You don't have to do that. But so 9 and 10, they're both a shape that a lot of kids have trouble with. They don't always see it as what it is. So if you look at it, I've got a set of parallel lines right here, meaning they would never cross. But here, I have lines that would eventually intersect if I continued. So even though it's not the one that we like to see, like this one here, these are trapezoids. If it helps, you can always turn your design sideways and it'll help you see the bottom base, top base, and then your height, remember, has to make a right angle. This edge right here actually forms that height. Okay, so this is shape number 9. So I'm going to say it's a trapezoid. Okay, and area equals, I need base 1 and base 2. So I'm going to count out how long this bottom base is. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units. And then the top base is 1, 2, 3. Times my height. Height goes straight up and down between the bases. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then divide by 2. All right, so parentheses first. 8 plus 3 is 11. 11 times 6 is 66. Divided by 2 would be 33 units squared. Okay. And then lastly, if you want, we could go through our square and our rectangle. Remember, squares and rectangles is just length times width or base times height. So on my square here, I would just do 3 times 3. And then for my rectangle, I would do 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So now, obviously I did not finish my project. I only did a short snippet to show you what I want you to do to get started. But remember, you have to fill out the entire page, okay? Also, you want to make sure that you number each shape and color each shape. Now, on here, there's only room for 18 shapes. If your design goes past 18 shapes, you do not have to calculate the area any more of the ones that are past number 18. So if you had 20 shapes, number 19 and 20, you just don't have to worry about doing the work on those, okay? Okay, and then lastly, the last page asks you to take all the colors that you have and add them up, okay? So this last page, so I would have, for my design, so far I have purple, blue, green, and orange. I would say, okay, color is purple, and I would simply take my areas that I've already found for all those shapes, this one plus this one plus this one plus this one equals a total area, and put that answer in the blank there, okay? Now, once again, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blanks available for that. So if you use more than 6 colors, don't worry about the 7th and 8th and 9th colors. Just do the work for the 6 that you have. Now, if you only use 3 colors, you only have to do 3 colors to add up. So it just depends on your design. Okay, so if you have any questions, feel free to call me. My number, you know, is 936-777-3922, and I'd be glad to help you guys. Have a good one.